If we now look at Ross, I'll describe the target areas. The head, the neck and the torso, being prime target areas, will score a higher point than strikes to the limb. Specifically with weapon, if the rapier delivers a thrust successfully to the head, the neck or the torso, which is a flex to the blade, this will score 1 full point. A thrust to his limbs by a rapier will score half a point. Any cut to the body with the rapier, irrelevant of where it lands, is half a point. Because the sword and longsword, when it comes to cuts, is going to be more deliberating to the head, neck and torso, if it's a thrust, sword or longsword, it'll be 1 point. But if it's struck with a cut, 1 full point. The limbs, if struck with a thrust by sword and longsword, half a point. If it's struck with a cut, 1 full point. That's basically it. If the dagger delivers a successful thrust to the torso, 1 full point, or a thrust to the limbs, half a point, or if you manage to place the blade against the neck area, that will put you in a position to execute a throat cut, that will score 1 full point. What I'll now do is invite Justin to demonstrate what we would consider to be a valid strike. So I'll ask Ross to move over here, and I'll ask Justin to move over here. Ross is going to take an on guard position. As you can see, Justin is equipped with a rapier. Justin is now going to draw a strike to Ross's head. Go. He struck with a cut. That is half a point. Thank you. Justin will now strike with a thrust. Nice blade flex, under control. Because it struck a vital area, a key target area, with a thrust, it's 1 full point. Pretty simple. What Justin is now going to do is he's going to pretend he's moved in and struck with the dagger. Excellent. Discernible flex. He has struck the main prime target area. It's 1 full point. Thank you. So I think you get the idea from there. If Justin happened to engage Ross and throw him to the ground, if it was clean and under control, it would be 1 full point. If it ever got messy with close-in work, I would call it halt, reset, continue on. But that's a broad idea of what to expect with a rapier and a dagger. I'll now ask Justin to grab a sword. And what's now going to happen is you're going to see a visual example of how I would score strikes with a sword weapon. Ross will once again come on guard. Justin is now going to strike Ross's head with the sword. This will score 1 full point. Why? Because it's a greater weapon of mass, the shearing capacity would be greater, therefore 1 full point as opposed to half a point with a rapier. Justin is now going to strike a thrust against Ross with the sword. Okay, in this case, although it was a sword, whether I've been thrust with a rapier or the sword, it's pretty well the same damage. This would score 1 point. Thank you. And finally, Justin is now going to strike Ross's forward arm area with the sword, doing a cut. This would score 1 full point. Because it's a sword, greater shearing capacity, more disabling to the arm as opposed to a rapier. This would score 1 full point. Thank you. And now Justin is going to grab his longsword. Ross is feeling very vulnerable at the moment. As you can see, this sword tournament, the skill at arms is trying to give a greater advantage to sword and longswords doing cutting techniques over rapiers thrusting techniques. Greater variety in swordplay. Justin is now going to thrust home against Ross using the longsword. Okay, in this case, there is discernible blade flex. I can see it. It has struck a prime target area. This is 1 point. Justin will now strike Ross with a cut. Full strike to the head, 1 full point. Justin is now going to strike Ross's arm. Okay, this would score 1 full point. However, I want to make one important note here. You can break one important note. At the end of the day, if I believe that the weapon has been delivered with control and with a speed of impact that I would assess as disabling to the opponent, I'll use my judgment to make that call. The points in the target areas are guidelines only. At the end of the day, if I feel a blow is not landed with sufficient force to communicate the intent of the blow, I'll probably not score it. Combat martial at the end of the day has final say, but that gives you a very broad idea of target areas and how I'd score strikes.